taking the tour around the schools and looking at things. It's always nice, I think, to get people's different ideas and opinions and be able to share what's going on. As you can see, we've got some challenges with our schools, as all the older schools around the country are in. And the good thing is, I think we've got the attention of legislators and of some folks now where there is some money that's coming down to help upgrade older school systems. So we're always tracking down those dollars and grant funding. And as we talked about on the facilities tour, we brought in about $500,000 in grant funding, and always tracking that down to try to get more. So very hopeful and excited about some of the things we can do. With that being said, we'll now call our regular meeting to order. It's 5:30, so we'll call that meeting to order. If everyone would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Would anybody like to lead us in our invocation tonight? Okay, Ms. Steinman.
Heavenly Father, we come before you tonight and we praise you and we thank you for this meeting. And we ask that you would just bless this group as they continue to make decisions for our school community, that our children will benefit and be uplifted to you and in the light of Christ. We ask that the wonders that happen here tonight and the wonderful things spread up through our community, show the love of Christ in all that we do and all that we have. Bless us and keep us in your name and the name of Jesus Christ.
Amen. Thank you, Susan. Okay, our first order for tonight, and you guys may remember every January we kind of go through this process of electing the chairman for this upcoming year. And so at this time, I'll open the floor up for nominations for the chairman of the school board. Is there any nominations?
I nominate Trace Belisai.
Second.
There's been a nomination and a second for Trace Belisai. Any discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Trace. I will now turn the rest of the meeting over to Trace.
All right, so the next in order is going to be election of our vice chairman. Do we have any motions or nominations for vice chairman?
I make a motion for Darren.
I second that.
All right, moved by Ms. Powers, seconded by Mr. Altizer. All in favor, raise your hand. All opposed. Election of the clerk. Do we have a motion to approve Jessica Belcher as a school board clerk?
I make a motion.
I'll second.
All right, moved by Ms. Powers, seconded by Mr. Gilreath. All in favor, raise your hand. All opposed. All right, do we have a motion to approve Jesse Huffman as the school board deputy clerk?
I make a motion.
Second.
All right, moved. Who made that motion? I'm sorry. Moved by Mr. Marsden, seconded by Ms. Powers. All in favor, raise your hand. All opposed. All right, next going to be the Roanoke Valley Governor School Board representative. Is there a motion to appoint a member of the board to the Roanoke Valley Governor School Board?
You. Trace.
Trace Belisai.
Second that.
All right, moved by Mr. Gilreath, seconded by Ms. Powers. All in favor, raise your hand. All opposed. All right, unless there's any objection, I'm going to move 3.6 through 3.8 to our consent agenda. Does anybody object to that?
No.
All right. Then we'll move on to 3.9. That's going to be, do we have a motion to appoint Ms. Heather Duncan as the superintendent's designee?
Make a motion to make Miss Heather Duncan our superintendent designee for 2025.
I'll second that motion.
All right, moved by Mr. Gilreath, seconded by Mr. Altizer. All in favor, raise your hand. All opposed. And then we have our meeting schedule. That's going to, the same schedule we've been following. That's the second Tuesday of every month, with the exception of the January meeting, because that does conflict with the VASBO conference for the superintendent. Do we have a motion to approve the 2025 regular meeting schedule?
I make a motion to approve 2025 regular meeting schedule.
Second.
All right, moved by Mr. Altizer, seconded by Mr. Marsden. All in favor, raise your hand. All opposed. All right, do we have requests for any other changes to the agenda? All right, hearing none, we'll move right into recognition. Virginia School Principals Appreciation Week.
Yes, and we're a little late in doing this. Part of it's because of our weather issues that we had and some of the closures we had, but we certainly want to take time to recognize our principals here and the fabulous job that they've done. And so the governor sent this proclamation. I'll read that. Virginia School Principals Appreciation Week. Whereas school principals work cooperatively to direct, develop, and inspire all members of the school staff and student body, and to communicate effectively with parents and to engage them in the learning process. And whereas school principals serve as educational leaders, managing the policies, regulations, and procedures necessary to ensure a safe and effective learning environment for all students in Virginia, in the public and private schools. And whereas school principals serve as instructional leaders, equipping teachers with training and resources and delivering personalized and innovative student programs to ensure every student has the opportunity to succeed. And whereas school principals are entrusted with the opportunity and responsibility guiding, directing, nurturing, mentoring, and imparting knowledge to our children while they are at school. And whereas school principals work collectively with teachers, staff, students, parents, and the community at large to proactively prepare students to be productive members of our economy, informed citizens in our democracy, and engaged neighbors in our communities. And whereas Virginia School Principals Appreciation Week is an opportunity to recognize the hard work of Virginia school principals and to recognize the importance of school leaders in ensuring that every child has access to a quality education that prepares them for life. Now, therefore, I, Glenn Youngkin, do hereby recognize January 12th through the 18th, 2025, as Virginia School Principals Appreciation Week in our Commonwealth of Virginia, and I call this observance to the attention of our citizens. Let's give our principals a hand. Ms. Steinling, if you'll come up. I think Ms. Stevens, unfortunately, is under the weather. She's been battling the bug. It's been going through our school for a while. Jerry, could you take a picture?
You need Shelley to help you?
So just want to recognize Ms. Stevens and Ms. Foster, who couldn't be here tonight, but you can check them out on our school website. We were able to get that up there last week and recognize those guys, and just really appreciate all the hard work. As you can tell, that was from the details written in the governor's proclamation. These guys do a lot of things, and it's nonstop effort. The hours that they put in and the job that they do is just tremendous. And I want to thank them so much, and we feel so fortunate to have them on board. Yes, Ms. Steinling has found it.
Yeah, and even more so, I'd like to point out, that's with being such a small school system, our principals take on a lot more duties than they do in larger school systems, right? They don't have a staff of hundreds of people to do all the things that need to get done. So thank you all so much.
For sure.
All right, at this time we'll go ahead and open the public hearing on the budget. Is there anybody wishing to address the board regarding the budget?
Yes, Mr. Jordan Labiosa.
Is that regarding the budget, or is it just a?
I had 2 points.
Okay.
Yep. So I'll come up twice, and I'm sure Pastor Kevin's familiar with it, but blessed are the brief, for they'll be invited to return. I wanted to kind of encourage you guys and kind of give you some additional perspective on the Board of Supervisors and the budget process as we move into that season. I think it's important for everyone to remember that no one on the Board of Supervisors has any children in the school system. And so a lot of the interaction they have with the school system is annual, and it comes around budget time, and it comes in the form of people approaching us for money, right? And so I would encourage the school, as we head into budget season, not just to keep us informed about what the needs are and why they're needed, but to also engage us on a different level that we haven't really been engaged on in the past, in a way that humanizes the school system a little more than just the numbers and figures on a spreadsheet. Things like presentations from the children about art projects or the FFA awards, Mr. Boyer's technology class, things that really show the progress that our kids are making at this school system that are likely above and beyond that of competitive school systems in the region, I think are really good ways for us to have a different perspective on the school system and to get it out kind of in the community and help people understand that this isn't just something that costs money. It really changes lives and impacts real people. So I would encourage you guys to do more of that, just generally all year around, but also especially right now ahead of the budget season.
Thank you, Jordan, and thank you for coming on our facilities tour. I think that it goes to your point. Sometimes you just need to see things firsthand, and thank you so much for coming and sharing that with us.
Anybody else on the budget?
No, sir.
All right, we'll close the public hearing and go to citizens and delegations.
Mr. Jordan Laviosa?
So the other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about, you may be aware, Lenny McDonald and I have a nonprofit called the Love Thy Neighbor Fund. We have been able to accomplish a lot of great things in the community for children and adults alike through a program called Care Portal. And that's something I believe Mr. Huff is familiar with and has used in the past. But Care Portal is essentially a technology platform that allows needs in the community to be entered, and then churches in the community to respond to those needs as they're entered onto the platform. And it's anonymous, and it allows for any number of things. It could be backpacks, clothing. We've supplied beds and mattresses to children that didn't have any. It really runs the gambit of anything that could be impacting children in the school system or even in their homes that could result in them entering the foster care system. The Love Thy Neighbor Fund would like to offer the school system Care Portal free of charge. And if you guys are interested in it, we can also train your guidance counselors or whoever you would like to enter the requests on behalf of your students to be able to participate on the system. But if you guys approve that, we would be funding it annually and covering the cost of that. And then the churches in the community that have signed up with Care Portal, when those needs are entered from the guidance counselors or whoever in your system enters those needs, will be the ones replying to those needs and supplying the services that the children need. I could imagine this being used in a lot of ways. I know homeless assistance is something that we've focused on, but also even at the start of the year, someone might not have appropriate clothing for school. They may not have the resources they need, such as backpacks, notebooks, pens, the things that a lot of us would take for granted. Those are easily requestable through the system and would be brought here to the school board office to be distributed. So there's no one-on-one interaction between the churches in the community, the Care Portal, and the students, which would allow it to remain anonymous. But if you guys are interested in that software and being able to do that, we would be happy to cover it for you. Just let us know and we'll get started.
Okay. Ms. Steinling, I know, has looked into it quite a bit, and I'm sure she would be on board 100%. I can't imagine anybody on this stage would not be in favor of that. And I don't know if we need to put that in the form of a motion.
I don't think so. No, I don't think there's any reason that requires board action. Just encouraging whoever, I guess, just figuring out who we need to get the ball rolling on it.
Yeah. But Jordan, thank you again, and thank Lenny too, because it's a wonderful service. As Jordan said, I'm familiar with it. We used to use it in Grayson County quite a bit, and he's right. It does run the gamut. I've seen it pay for everything from rent to washing machines to fixing cars, you name it. And it is an awesome, awesome thing. And the beauty of it is quick. Most of these needs are met within 24 hours, and it's just an amazing thing. I know Susan and I have talked about using it many times, and to this community's credit, we've usually found a way to cover things and not had to go there yet. That doesn't mean the need's not there. It is there. So we definitely want to get on board, Jordan, so thank you.
Who would be the right person to get Jordan in contact with?
Susan, do you want to spearhead that? Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, anybody else wishing to address the board?
No, sir.
All right, then we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
You didn't steal my sermon, did you, Faye? Faye said that the kids used to steal the preacher's sermon, and then he was in trouble. He didn't have his notes. So I was afraid that might be the case with me. So, you know, a lot of times I do report on the facilities, and so we can skip that part. That's good, getting that out of the way already tonight. But I do want to highlight some things that are going on this spring, and to recognize some folks. Again, I want to recognize Shane for all of his hard work this winter, trying to keep the heat on in this place. It has been a job. And for other folks too, Ms. Steinling's here on the weekends a lot of times, and she'll call me, hey, just want to let you know this is going on, this is going on. So thank everybody's hard work, because this has been a tough winter, very, very tough winter, temperatures like we haven't seen in a long time. So been tough to keep things going. Before I kind of get into some of that springtime stuff, I wanted to congratulate Miss Stacy Crowder. Some of you guys may have seen her on the front page of the paper a few weeks back. She was selected as the Teacher of the Year from the local VFW Post. Just an awesome honor and very well deserved. Stacy is just a tremendous teacher. The kids love her. We love her here as part of our staff, and she is just an amazing, amazing addition to our staff. I also want to thank or recognize Miss Mackenzie Lucas, who was also a winner in the annual Voice of Democracy contest with the VFW, and her picture was there beside Miss Crowder. So if you see those guys, just tell them congratulations for a job well done. And then I wanted to kind of update you on some things for this spring. We're still looking for a few spring sports coaches. So if you know anybody interested either in head coaching positions or assistant positions, tell them to look at our website. Those jobs that are still up are on the website if they're interested. We are still exploring the feasibility of a middle school girls softball team. We did kind of a fall interest survey, and we had about 9 or 10 girls that were interested in doing it at that time. We'd like to have a few more, so we make sure we got enough for a team. So we're putting that out this week to see if we can get a few more girls to sign up for that. We're also still looking for more bus drivers, and that could be a regular route driver, or somebody just wants to be a substitute, or maybe work some of the after-school activities and ball games. To try to help with that, we're going to advertise it and hopefully hold a class sometime this spring for the bus driver training. And for people who might be interested, there's one good incentive. The state has now changed the rule to where if you do double duty, in other words, if you're like a teacher and also running a bus route, now your bus driver time can also count toward your Virginia retirement. And that's huge. That's a very good incentive, and thankful that they've done that. So I want to let our faculty know that that may be an option for them if they're looking to supplement their salary and also boost up their retirement. We will have that sometime in the spring once we find out how many people might be interested in that class. They've also reduced the number of hours that it takes to get your bus driver license. It used to be 24 hours of classroom. That still exists, but it also was 24 hours of behind the wheel time, and that was a component of about 14 hours driving with an instructor with no kids on board, and also 10 hours behind the wheel with students present. And now they've reduced that to only 6 hours of behind the wheel time with no students. So a lot less time than it used to be to get your CDL and your passenger license to drive a school bus. So hopefully we can get some more people that are interested. We have had some people that say they might be looking at retirement this year, so we'd like to get some people in the pipeline in case some of those folks do decide to retire. speaking of spring and the cold weather, we'll be checking the football field probably sometime in March. My fear is that these cold temperatures are really going to be tough on the Bermuda grass. If you know, that's a warm season grass, and it's subject to a condition called winter kill. Basically, the soil just gets so cold it kills it. We've not seen this since about probably 2019 maybe. I can't remember the last time. Because the last time it happened, it wiped out golf courses and football fields, baseball fields up and down the East Coast, and it was hard to even find replacement sprigs or replacement sod to fix them. So I hope that's not the case, but I was talking to somebody else in the turf business, and they said, yeah, they're worried about it too. So one of the things we'll probably do is start taking plugs in March, putting them in the greenhouse, and we're going to see how many of those plugs green up. Okay, if most of them green up, we're probably okay. A lot of times when snow lays on the ground, it acts like a blanket, and it can actually insulate it and help it. But in this case, where it turned to ice, and then that ice was down to single digits, I'm really scared about it. So we'll see. Like I said, we'll test it. We'll know more about March and April if we have, excuse me, damage. Any questions about that? I know that's kind of scary. It is for me.
I would like to say something. I've received several calls about the middle school softball, girls softball, and you know, if you kids want to play, you've got to sign up. You know, we go from rec to middle school nothing to high school, and what do they do? Travel ball. That's the only thing that middle school has, and I just think it's not good, you people out there, that you go from elementary to high school and you expect the teams to do good. You're missing out a whole middle school here. So please sign up.
Yeah, and that continuation, you know, only helps our JV and varsity sports.
Absolutely.
We do also want to talk to the rec department people, though. We want to be a good neighbor and make sure we're not doing anything that kind of hurts their program. So whatever we do, we'll do it, you know, with their input as well.
Yes.
Okay. We'll be meeting with FEMA personnel this week, or actually that's February the 3rd, I think, Jessica, is that right? So from the Hurricane Helene, if y'all remember that, we did have some damage. We lost power for about 4 days. We had flooding in parts of the building. The football field was underwater, and some of our other fields took a beating too. So they're going to be on site February 3rd. Jessica has already met with them one time. They sent a whole team of people down here. And there's some things I think we will get reimbursed for. Some of the food that maybe that the insurance didn't cover, some equipment like we had to buy some pumps to handle the water, and maybe even some compensation for people who had to come in and work extra hours to deal with the water. So we'll see. We'll know more after February 3rd about how much FEMA might cover. We think it might be a few $1,000s, but it could be more. We'll just have to see. I want to thank Jessica for all her hard work with that. Today I was telling her I'm not sure if it's worth everything, that all the hoops she's had to jump through, but I really appreciate her staying with it and going through that. And then I mentioned on our tour about the grant to pay for the extra generator or the backup generator, and Jessica has been working hard on that too. It's called the Shelter Upgrade Grant, and that's through the Virginia Department of Emergency Management. And she has done a great job with that and been in contact with those people. So as soon as we get all of the bids or quotes for that new generator, Jessica can turn that in, and we'll see if we can land that grant. And Jordan, if you'll kind of take this back to the Board of Supervisors, it is a matching grant. The grant will be 33%. So if it is, say, a $200,000 project, then we'd be looking at about $99,000 to match. And I probably would come to the county to see if they would pick up most of the tab on that. Okay. So that's all I have, unless somebody has some questions about the things that we covered either here or on our facilities tour. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? All right, I know we have Thompson and Litton here. Are we still doing a presentation, or did we go over everything we needed to in the,
Yeah, Butch, just wanted to give you a minute or two. Is there anything else that you can think of, or that you maybe we didn't talk about when we were on the tour? Butch, and I won't hold you to this, but do you have just a rough timeline of when you guys might be finished with the plan side of it, and then when we might be looking at getting Travis to come in and start? Okay.
What we're trying to do is get the design complete by mid-February, then Travis or Street, try to have agreements to March.
Okay. All right, so I'll just try to repeat that in case anybody didn't hear. So we'll meet with kind of what we're calling the safety team, which would be probably the principals, school resource officer, maybe the building official, fire marshal, just to get everybody on the same page as far as the safety and make sure we're not missing anything there. And then Thompson and Litton would have their plans hopefully done by the end of February, and the contractor to start in March, actually putting things up. You know, now because we'll have construction going on during school time, we'll have to make arrangements to where we can block that off and they can do their work and still not interrupt the school business and the kids and that kind of thing. So we'll have to get a little creative there. But it's been done before, right, Butch?
They have, Extreme has done this several places. They need to get spurs on for summer, and they work with me however they want to use it.
Okay, great. Thank you, Butch. Thank you again for coming.
yeah, thank you. All right, and then we've got the budget schedule. That's just there for your information. Looks like we'll be meeting with the Board of Supervisors March 20th and April 3rd. I think we have April 17th on the county as a joint work on the schedule as a joint work session with the county. I think generally we don't end up using that last one, but it's there in case we need it. All right, we have no new business. That is a first. Unfinished business, we have the iTeach program. I know we talked about this before. This is that program that allows teachers or allows individuals to potentially get their teaching license accelerated rather than having to take all the traditional coursework. It's all online, is my understanding. Is that right? Do you want to speak any more to that?
Yeah, just, if you got a chance to look at that, the attached document, I think when we talked about it in December, you guys kind of wanted to see what it looked like in writing and how we plan to do that. So the total cost of the tuition is $3,050. The only monies that's required up front is a $250 kind of deposit to get started, and so we would require the teacher that's going through this program to pay that, and then we would be willing to reimburse the balance, which would be $2,800. Now, that seems like maybe quite a bit of money, but our current policy on tuition reimbursement is $600 per college class, or half of whatever the class costs, whichever's the most. And most of our teachers who are going through provisional licensure or trying to get their full license probably wind up taking 4 to 6 classes. So if you figure, 5 classes at $600 a pop, that's $3,000. So this is not out of reason of what we're already paying teachers for tuition assistance. Kind of the same deal. This is all contingent if we have the money. So if Heather comes to me and says, sorry, we're out of money to help pay for this, then it's off the table for that year. So the teacher knows that going in. The other part that we kind of changed about this is we wanted to have some type of contract where we could kind of guarantee we're getting some return on that investment. So that's why we put it in. If we pay the whole $2,800, we want a 3-year commitment that the teacher will stay with us for at least 3 years, or they have to pay that tuition back. But we also thought, well, some teachers may not want to be locked into a 3-year deal, so that's why we have the other option. They could do 1 year or 2 year, and that would just be a third or 2/3 of that bill. Again, they would sign that contract and agree to repay that money if they didn't fulfill their obligation. I think, one, it will help with recruitment and retention, knowing that, we're going to cover this cost for them. This is also a good program because it gets them through earlier. If you go the traditional route, or if you're trying to get a master's degree, you're probably looking at least 1.5 years. This allows people that are driven to get it done in less than a year, potentially. So I think there's a lot of good to this. We've already got, Jessica, 2, maybe 3?
2, maybe 3.
Yeah, so 2 already committed to this program. They've paid their deposit, and what we would do is reimburse them if funds are available. So if everybody's on board with this, I would just look for a motion to approve the iTeach program approval, or the iTeach program as presented.
I make a motion, we approve the iTeach program as presented.
I'll
Second.
second.
All right, moved by Mr. Altizer, seconded by Ms. Powers. All in favor, raise your hand. All opposed? All right, that'll be easy. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as a whole or pull anything off?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as a whole.
I second that motion.
All right, moved by Mr. Gilreath, seconded by Mr. Marsden. All in favor, raise your hand. All opposed? All righty. And then we do have a closed session for the night. Do we have a motion to go into closed session?
I make a motion to go into closed session according to Virginia Code 2.2-3711.A1. Motion to be made to go into closed session for the discussion of personnel matters.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Moved by Ms. Powers, seconded by Mr. Altizer. All in favor, raise your hand. All right. come out of closed session?
Let me see here, I'll find it on Frank's.
I make a motion to certify according to Code of Virginia, Section 2.2-3712, that to the best of each member's knowledge, that only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meetings requirements under the chapter, and only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered by the school board.
Second.
All right, moved by Mr. Altizer, seconded by Ms. Powers. All in favor, raise your hand. All opposed? All right. We have no actions resulting from closed session. Just a reminder that your statement of economic interest is due to Ms. Belcher by the 3rd. I have not turned mine in either, so.
That's okay.
has
So
that-
it falls on a weekend, so they gave you till the 3rd this time.
Gotcha. Other than that, we've got the superintendent evaluation workshop. I need to try to make it to that one this year. That'd be a good one to make it to, I think. That's on March 25th, and that's in Charlottesville. And then the Hot Topic Conference is April 17th, what is the topic this year?
Day trip the other night. 9 a.m.
The Trust Edge Experience. Yeah, those usually aren't my favorite.
It doesn't sound real exciting, but
We'll have to look
welcome
into
go.
it.
And this is March, right?
Build trust and grasses. I mean, it sounds important.
March 25th.
All right. Anybody else have any comments, concerns, questions, information, life stories, anything? No? All right. Well, hear nothing, then we're adjourned.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.